Now, in Studio B, the voice of the Cougars, who is returning for the 2018 season of Behind the Mic. His name is Greg Wrubell.
What's up, Greg?
Greg,
hello, boys.
Welcome back. 1 month away.
1 month from today.
It's very exciting. More exciting, though, is the fact that we have your photo on display from when you were like 12 on the set. How old were you in that photo?
Oh, the humanity. Probably right around there.
Around 12?
Yeah.
Were those your glasses or your grandmother's?
Those are mine.
Oh,
if you
okay.
can believe that.
That's
Yeah.
become a staple
I had
of Studio B.
I had a series of ugly glasses till I was about 16 years old. Yeah. That will live in infamy right there. Yeah.
All right, I just
Full
mentioned,
head of hair. Let's note.
Oh,
Yeah.
Beautiful.
great.
Beautiful.
Just mentioned new season of Behind the Mic,
Yeah.
and what a way to kick off the season of that tonight.
Behind the Mic brought to you by the BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. We spread the wealth here on campus. So tonight's show will feature our AD, Tom Holmo, and head football coach, Kalani Sitake. It'll be a football-themed month every week of August as we build up to the season opener on September 1st. And again, on Behind the Mic, you brought up Wide World of Sports last segment. Jim McKay used to say, let's go up close and personal. That's what the show's about, is we learn more about the lives and careers of some BYU sports personalities, past and present, current and former. And that's every week. It's a 1-hour show. Basically 2 half-hour interviews, 2 personalities a week, and tonight we kick it off with Tom and with Kalani. And on last year's season premiere, the first edition of the show ever, Tom was my first guest from campus. And we talked a lot about his upbringing and his BYU playing days. We kind of continue the story tonight as a pro football player and coach leading into administration, because most BYU fans, I would say, know Tom's history. But there are some, maybe the younger generation, who know him simply as the AD, that don't really know how big a deal he was in the NFL. And we talk a lot about his NFL days and then getting into coaching at both the collegiate and professional level. Again, he was also a coach before he was an AD. So we talk a lot about those days and then learn about Kalani's upbringing and what got him to the place he is now as well. So I think you'll enjoy it. I think the listeners will enjoy it. Behind the Mic with Greg Wrubell, Wednesdays, 6 to 7 Mountain, 8 to 9 Eastern on BYU Radio. It's on Sirius XM 143 on the app and on BYURadio.org every Wednesday. And again, I think people will enjoy it.
Yeah, the long-form conversation is unique.
It's a different kind of show. So
a
I
different
really
vibe,
like
say from Sports Nation. Sports Nation, you're going to hit the current events, and you're going to be very, I think, tactical and
I'm going to have a mustache sometimes.
That'll happen sometimes.
That's part of the deal.
We just have a little more room to breathe and a little more chance to go a little more in depth on their lives. And again, I think it's a cool format. Yeah.
Okay, 1 month from today is BYU football. How would you explain kind of the feeling around BYU football in your opinion right now?
Well, optimism is maybe too cliche a word to use, but I want to use it because that's how I feel. I feel BYU made some great hires in the offseason. Even though they lose a lot on the offensive line, I think it's going to be a strength of this year's team. With so many skill guys back, even though the offense in general struggled, I think the components are there to, with a different approach, a different feel, and a different confidence, have a good group together on the offensive side of the ball. I really felt that once this thing kind of got going the wrong direction last year, one of the most important components lacking was confidence. The belief that week to week we had a game plan that would work to score points and win a game. And I thought it just got kind of more bogged down as the season went, and there was a real loss of faith and loss in belief. And I think that's what the team is all about right now, is belief and hope and confidence that Jeff Grimes and his new coaches are going to help turn this thing around. And again, a lot of pieces are back to make it happen, even though you lose a really important trio on the O-line. I think because those 3 were lost, people might be saying, well, how are they going to do? But I think there's a lot that was under the surface last year that's ready to emerge and be a real strength of this year's team, and in part because it's Ryan Pugh and Jeff Grimes pulling the strings on that O-line.
The voice of the Cougars, Greg Wrubell, with us on BYU Sports Nation. It is August 1st. We are 1 month officially away from opening the 2018 season. Greg, in your statistical and very technical preparations for these games and for this team, have you noticed anything unique about this club that you can share with us today?
Well, and it's kind of gone ever since Kalani started at BYU, and really with Bronco too. BYU's been a great front-running team over the years, and especially under Kalani. And I want to see how the team opens up, not just in Tucson, but game to game, because BYU, maybe more than most teams, I think, has been really dependent on starts, first quarters and first halves. How those quarters and halves go have tended to kind of tell the tale for Kalani's teams, and I just want to see how strong and how well they open game to game. And you say it's a 60-minute game, but for BYU, especially Kalani, those first 15 minutes have proven really pivotal. and first halves. I still don't think he's lost a game when leading at halftime yet, since he's been the head coach. And so coming out of the chutes, literally and figuratively. And again, and you can kind of look bigger picture and say the first game of this season is just so important. It could be the difference between being a bowl team or not, is what happens at Arizona. Who knows by the end of the season how we'll look at that game. But if you win that game, so many things change, I think, in that first month. It's just one game of 5, and it's a 5-game month. But if you come out of that victorious, I think a lot can change in just one night for the outlook of this football team.
Yeah, imagine the hype coming back home for that.
And again, a loss isn't fatal, obviously, right?
Right.
You come right back and you get amped for Cal in week 2. While a loss isn't fatal, a win could mean a ton to this team. I think a lot has to go in and has gone in to those 60 minutes in Tucson. And yes, they're putting a Heisman Trophy candidate up against you. And yes, it's a Pac-12 team playing on their home field in a pretty charged environment. And it's a good Pac-12 squad in a good league. But that said, BYU's had good season opening success. We'll get that in our stat that matters coming up at the end of the segment. And what a win would mean if you're just able to get in and get out with the win that night. Yeah.
Lots of storylines, lots of questions that might be answered in fall camp, probably need to get into the season, but quarterback, obviously, the biggest one. How much time do you think is a good amount of time for BYU to figure out who the guy is?
Well, I thought within the first week they should have a pretty good idea of who the guy is going to be, because I don't think you say we go 2 weeks in and then give the guy 2 weeks to have the first string reps and the game plan reps you're going to need for Tucson. I know that Ed Lamb, I guess, made some remarks that indicated maybe days, not a week. We're talking about just like maybe in the first few days.
Like by Saturday, they would know.
But the great thing about it is it's going to be an intense competition, whether it's for 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 days, 10 days, 14 days. It's going to be a great and real competition for that starting quarterback spot. It's not lip service when the coaches say it's a clean slate. Last year doesn't matter. And I guess if you look at Tanner Mangum, the last 2 or 3 years don't matter. They're looking at what's happening now with this group. And again, I don't think it's lip service when the coaches say we're not looking at last year's film. We haven't watched these guys from last year. It's all new. So to that end, how intriguing and interesting and really compelling is that quarterback competition now?
Every rep is going to matter.
Means something.
Like if a guy throws a pick, it's like, ooh. There's going to be so much over-evaluation.
And neither guy can say I'm just having a bad week. If your bad week,
well, then you're the number 3, right?
So,
it's going to be crazy.
Yeah. Yes, it is the quest for the final rose.
And each of the guys, have unique skill sets and different abilities, and who knows how the coaches really want to incorporate them into what extent in that season opener, because the ultimate advantage is the unknown. Arizona's not going to know what a Jeff Grimes offense looks like until snap 1. You've already got a pretty good sense with Kevin Sumlin and his coordinators what they're going to do. And he's already shown what he can do with an athletic quarterback like Khalil Tate, because he's had Johnny Manziel. We know what he likes to do. No one knows what BYU likes to do or will want to do on snap 1 in Tucson. And that's the competitive advantage, which is why I think not a lot may come out of camp in terms of what they're doing, and for good reason. I think you hold on to as much of that competitive advantage as you can. I wouldn't fault them at all for being very, very close to the vest, closer than ever.
What kind of atmosphere do you expect will emanate from this version of the BYU football fall camp?
Well, I hope it's an energized vibe and a healthy vibe, and I mean healthy both in the competitive sense of there's healthy competition and true health. You cross fingers that you don't leave the first week, second week, third week with that injury that's going to hamper you in week 1 of the season. And so I hope it's the kind of vibe that every day after practice you're getting a real sense that the progress is real. And I think Kalani is going to do a lot of different things than we've seen done in previous camps. I think there's going to be a lot of real tangible changes in how things are run. And hopefully it gives him the end result he's seeking, because I think he's making these changes with an objective in mind, not just change for change's sake. And so I'm looking forward to getting a sense of how those changes really play out on the field.
We've had some fun watching Team Fredette in the basketball tournament.
By the way, how cool are those jerseys, by the way?
They're great.
They're fun, right?
They're the classiest looking jerseys in that deal.
Yeah, I like it.
Team Fredette jersey.
Yeah, I like it. What's been the funnest part for you of watching kind of this 2011 reunion play out on ESPN?
Well, besides the fact that Brandon and Charles are great players in their own right, and it's just fun to see them do what they do. And again, so much of just the way Brandon looks and the moves he makes, like, that looks so familiar. Like he's taken what he did at BYU and just really refined it. He just looks so smooth. And Charles is Charles. Getting to watch Jimmer play a game again. I mean, I've seen him play some Chinese basketball, and I've actually streamed some stuff, but I'm not locked into a whole game with Jimmer for years, you know. And to see him be the guy he was at BYU, and then again having refined his skills to be even better, you know, Jimmer Plus, it's been a thrill. It's been a blast. You know, that's who he is, and it's what he does, and it's such a unique skill. I mean, who scores like he does, you know, in the professional world? It's a unique skill he's got. And just because an NBA team hasn't decided to incorporate him into their setup doesn't mean he still doesn't have it. He's got it, and he's getting paid a lot of money to do it somewhere else. It's been a blast. I love it.
Yeah, it would be fun to see him find that unique fit that he needs in the NBA, but who knows? Success in China for sure, and then some. I like how you said Jimmer Plus as well.
Yeah, Jimmer Plus is the best description I've heard. Yeah.
Okay, let's wrap with a stat that matters. You can go wherever you want with this, football or basketball.
Well, and it starts with a win over Arizona in a season opener. So Harvey Unga, by the way, is coming up on episode 2 of Behind the Mic with Greg Wrubell next week. So Harvey Unga's redshirt freshman season, his first real season opener, was 2007. BYU beat Arizona 20-7 here at LaVell Edwards Stadium. Starting with that season opening win in 2007, BYU has won 10 of its last 11 season openers, and included in those 10 wins are 7 against P5 opponents, and in those wins are 2 on the road as well. So they have won on the road in openers. They have beat P5s in openers, and they won a lot of openers, 10 of the last 11. So that's my stat that matters for today.
Right.
Let's hope it doesn't take a Hail Mary this time.
Yeah.
However it comes.
Or maybe it does.
I
Who
won't
knows?
complain.
Or a Kyle Van Noy strip.
However
at
they
the goal
come.
line in Mississippi.
Did you just name the 2 on the road?
Yeah.
Nice.
Get the W.
Very
There
nice.
they are. Great stuff. Thanks for the time, man. And
You bet.
don't miss Behind the Mic with Greg Wrubell tonight at 8 Eastern, 6 Mountain, Kalani Sitake and Tom Homo on that show.
You got it. Thanks, guys.
Alrighty.
Okay.